Assalamu alaikum. In this class, this is I think class number 6, we're going to do 2 reading passages and hopefully 2 writing passages. Okay, perfect, Emir. So 2 reading passages and 2 writing passages. I've already sent the materials, the 2 passages reading, 2 passages writing on the groups. Okay. And I do believe you found out both passages are challenging, or let me tell you, the second passage. The second passage, Amira, was a bit challenging. Who said no? Okay? And as long as we still have time, okay, the first session, exam is gonna be on 30 August. Okay, so I thought like reading the entire passage is what we should be doing these days, okay? Maybe in the upcoming classes, we can talk about some hacks and skills, okay, for those people who don't want to read the whole passage. But I quite understand that passage number 2 is quite challenging. I know this, okay? So now, please hold your pencil and be patient and keep track of all that I say. That's very important, okay? Everybody, I'm just gonna give seconds to get your pencil. Okay? طيب. You should mute your mics unless you want to talk, unless you want to ask about something. That would be great, and I'd be happy to receive your questions, okay? طيب. Let's do passage number 1. And in passage number 1, I'm going to start this way. There are some distortions in the file here, in the PDF file, but I'm just going to correct it while we are working together. Okay, let us start with this. This passage is adapted from Edith Wharton. If you have read about this writer or no, Mrs. Salma Hussam, Mrs. Manstey. It's a T, not an L. Mrs. Manstey. Okay, and let me do something very quickly. Yes, CMS, perfect. Let me do something very quickly. Yeah, Mrs. Manstey. Okay, that's T. View. Remember this. Mrs. Manstey's View, originally published in 1891, and this is part of her what? Of her novel. Allahu Akbar, Allah Azam. Okay, and let us read together. Mrs. Manstey, in the long hours which she spent at her window. So it shows here that this lady has nothing to do but what? Spending long hours at her window. Okay, so as you can see here, comma to comma, so this one is a non-essential phrase, or the long hours, that's non-essential noun phrase. Okay, perfect. So the sentence should read this way: Mrs. Manstey was not idle, bearing in mind the fact that she spends long hours at her window. Okay, perfect. So she was not idle. We need to know the meaning of idle for those people who don't know it. She read a little and knitted numberless stockings. Okay, it means what? She was not idle. She was not lazy. She was doing something, okay? In spite of the fact that she spent long hours at her window. عمالة تبص من الشباك وخلاص. But, remember this. But the view, and let us relate this. The story is Mrs. Manstey's view, but the view surrounded and shaped her life as the sea does a lonely island. As the sea does a lonely island. What does it mean, does here? It means what? Surrounds. It means shapes. Okay? So, look at this comparison, which is what? Quite figurative. فيها معنى جمالي يا شباب. But the view surrounded and shaped her life as the sea does a lonely island. Okay, like what she enjoyed looking at such a view. Okay, from her window. Then, when her rare colors, and colors here, I think if you're talking about 1891, okay, so that's a very old time, right? For colors here, that's visitors. When her rare callers, and they weren't a lot, there were just few people who come to visit her, regular visitors, but that happens like what, at long intervals, like مدة طويلة أوي لما تلاقي واحد زاير ليها. When her rare callers came, it was difficult for her to detach herself from the contemplation of the opposite window washing. Oh my God. Even when visitors who are quite or rare to receive visitors, when they come to her, it was difficult for her to isolate herself, إنها تفصل نفسها عن الcontemplation. واكتبوا على كلمة contemplation اللي هي reflective thoughts، إنها تقعد تتأمل. عارفين those people who love nature, those people who doesn't want to be away from nature، هي كده. هي على طول she is contemplating. So contemplating like reflective thoughts of the opposite window washing, like maybe the rain that pours down, or the scrutiny of certain green points. واكتبوا على كلمة scrutiny observation. Observation of certain green points in a neighboring flower bed. Okay, so she enjoys looking, observe, maybe any green color. It could be what يا شباب الgreen color يا بنات. It could be plants, it could be flowers, it could be a tree that buds or that produce flowers. It could be anything. Any green color, she loves it. And that green color, of course, in a neighboring flower bed, which might or might not turn into hyacinths. Hyacinths, like it's a kind of what? It's a kind of a leafy, flowery sort of tree. Okay, so this is again flowers. While she feigned, remember this one. This is when her visitors come to her. But let me do this first. I'm sure you're gonna forgive me. Okay. While she feigned, واكتبوا على كلمة feigned, she pretended. While she feigned, she pretended an interest in her visitors' anecdotes. While she feigned what? An interest in her visitors' anecdotes. Anecdotes means what? Stories. Like what? She pretended that she's listening to her visitor's story. Whatever the story is, she doesn't care. What she cares, her priority is nature. Her priority is the view that she always looks at. She feigned an interest in her visitor's anecdote about some unknown grandchild. I mean, some of the visitors come and talk about, they give their stories about a grandchild and حفيدهم وعن كده وعن كده. She doesn't care that much. تخيلوا what type of a character it is. Mrs. Manstey's real friends, look at this one, and that is very important. Her real friends were the what? Denizens. Denizens, anything. It could be people, it could be plants, it could be flowers, it could be animals. Anything of with the denizens of what? Of the yards, of the parks, the gardens. The hyacinths, the flowers, the magnolia. And magnolia, it's a kind of what, يا شباب? Flowery tree. It produces some pinkish, creamy, whatever flowers, okay? طيب. So we have got hyacinths and we have got magnolia. وكلهم يا شباب أسماء, يعني we don't need to know the meaning, but أسماء يا شباب إيه? Trees that produce flowers. This is what she cares about. Don't forget that. Denizens. Denizens, anything. It could be people, it could be animals, it could be plants and flowers. Right. Mrs. Manstey's real friends were the denizens of the yards, the hyacinths, the magnolia, the green parrot, animals, the maid, people who fed the cats, the doctor who studied laid behind his mustard-colored curtains, okay? And that's quite descriptive. This is what she cares about. And the confidant of her tender musings. And look at this one. This is quite a good personification. A good personification. Mister, I don't understand. What is the confidant of her tender musings? Was the church spire floating in the sunset. وكأني the only place, the only thing that she can, okay, يا نور, the only thing, يا نور, that she can reveals her secrets is what? Is the spire of the church. يعني spire of the church يا شباب? Let us do this. The spire of the church, you know, like churches have got this, this what? They have got this conical structure. If you have got a church, okay, with a minaret, and this is what, ya shabab? This is, that's a church, and this is what we call it, they call it what here? Spire. Spire, it's that conical structure on top of a building, okay? That was her only confidant. Confident that the person that she can what reveals secrets to. Okay. So this is quite a good personification, okay? So this paragraph, yeah. So what, I mean here, and the confidant of her tender musings was the church spire floating in the sunset, as if that spire, that conical shape, which looks like a pyramid shape, floating in the sunset. Floating in the sunset. I mean, that's quite descriptive, quite figurative language. As you can see here, ya shabab, as you can see here, ya shabab, in this paragraph, we came to know about the character of Mrs. Manstey, okay? Hopefully you understand. And then, let us change color and let us go to another paragraph. The other paragraph is here. On April day, as she sat in her usual place, here I can tell you like what? I can tell Mrs. Manstey, like, welcome. Yes, tell me. Tell me, please. Somebody was talking. Okay. Welcome to the ground, okay? Now, we're being very practical, we're being very down to earth, and like what we touch the ground here, okay? The first paragraph was quite figurative, was quite imaginative in a way or another. But now we're going to talk about a real occurrence, حاجة حقيقية, حاجة نعرف نقول إيه, that's very real, that's very real, okay? One April day, as she sat in her usual place very close to the window, knitting, with knitting cast aside, like she was knitting, عمالة تخيط حاجة بتطرز حاجة, cast aside means what? حطت النتting بتاعها, whatever she's working on, and eyes fixed on the blue sky. Still, though it's kind of real, لكن still she's fixing, she's staring at, عمالة تبص وتحملق في وتبحلق في ايه يا شباب في البلو sky. What happened? That blue sky, and look at this one, that's the completion of the descriptive, mottled with round clouds. وكأن البلو sky يعني بتشوفوا فيها أشكال اللي هو round clouds. A knock at the door announced the entrance of her landlady. Landlady, of course, you know, the owner of the boarding house where she lives. And we come to know about boarding house. Boarding house, زمان يا شباب, in the beginning of the 19th century, and even now there are few boarding houses where like people who own the landladies or landlords بيأجروا غرفة أو غرفتين في that boarding house, okay? فهي مستأجرة. She is a tenant. Mrs. Manstey, she is what? She's a tenant. مستأجرة. خبط لي الباب, we need to know. A knock at the door announced the entrance of her landlady, Mrs. of her landlady. Then, Mrs. Manstey did not care for her landlady. She didn't care about her. She didn't care about her. طيب. But she submitted to her visits with ladylike resignation. And look at this one, يا شباب. And I'm going to change color and I need people to understand this. But, somebody's talking? Okay. But she submitted to her visits with ladylike resignation. What does that mean? She has to what? To welcome her. She has to receive her. Okay? But she doesn't like what? Visitors in a way or another. طيب. لما أقول she submitted to her visits, she has to accept it. With ladylike resignation. عارفين يا شباب؟ خاضعة. يعني she has no other option. ما تقدرش تقول لها لا امشي. خلاص كده. فladylike resignation, she was showing ladylike what sort of traits. طيب. Today, however, it seemed harder than usual to turn from the blue sky and the blossoming magnolia to Mrs. Sampson's unsuggestive face. And we came to know that Mrs. Sampson, she is what? She is the landlady. Shabab, would you please mute your mic? Yani, would you please mute your mic? I can tell who was unmuting it. So please mute it. Okay, thank you. Because of the background noise. Thank you very much. I do appreciate. معايا شباب. تاني. Mrs. Sampson, here. It seemed harder than usual to turn from the blue sky. هي مش عايزة تسيب blue sky. She doesn't want to leave looking at the blue sky, looking at the nature. And the blossoming magnolia and the blossoming flowery tree. She doesn't want to be away from this. To Mrs. Sampson's unsuggestive face. Like that face which lacks expression. Yani, she doesn't like, in a way or another, she doesn't like this lady, okay? In a way or another, she's her landlady, صاحبة البيت. They were not on good terms together, okay? فنعرف من هنا يا شباب, من this paragraph, إن هما they were not friends even, okay? تمام. And Mrs. Manstey was conscious of a distinct effort as she did so. Like she did her best. She tried her heart out. بذلت كل ما في وسعها إنها doesn't show in this lady is not being cordially welcomed. يعني مش مرحب بيها. بس she did her best in order to receive her. طيب. وبعد كده بدأ يا شباب الاكسشينج. ولما اقول exchange in reading بقى في dialogue. اتنين بيردوا على بعض. قالت لها ايه يا استاذة داليا؟ ومين اللي اتكلم الاول؟ The magnolia is out earlier than usual this year, Mrs. Sampson. انت عارفة يا Mrs. Sampson, المagnolia, this leafy flower tree is out earlier. بدأت تطلع بدري قوي السنة دي. She remarked, yielding to a rare impulse. واكتبوا على كلمة impulse desire. For she seldom alluded to the absorbing interest of her life. Alluded means what? Like called to attention. يعني she was saying this يعني ترضية لمسز سامسون لكن هي she doesn't want to talk about it, okay? طيب because this is the only thing that she can talk about maybe. In the first place, it was a topic not likely to appeal to her visitors. This topic اللي هو whether magnolia is out earlier ولا لأ, الشجر المورد ده طلع بدري ولا لأ, her visitors do not care. They don't give a damn about it. خلاص كده? And besides, she lacked the power of what? Of expression. The power of expression like what? She wanted to be left alone. there is no power of expression. ما بتقولهاش وهي يعني ايه حابة الموضوع قوي. But she says it because she wants to what? To do something with her visitors, right? To spend time maybe. And could not have given utterance to her feelings had she wished to. Okay? تمام. Then that's the exchange and the dialogue started here. The what? Mrs. Sampson? Mrs. Manstey? The what? Mrs. Manstey? As if in Mrs. Sampson, she doesn't even care about Magnolia. Inquired the landlady. Asked the landlady. glancing about the room as if to find there the explanation of Mrs. Manstey's statement. What are you talking about? Magnolia? Magnolia of what? انت بتكلمي على شجرة ايه؟ Then here, the magnolia in the next yard. معلش يا شباب أنا I can hear, I'm sorry to say that, but I can hear some people يا شباب unmuting their mics. So I can hear the noise. Okay? طيب. Okay, perfect. طيب. The magnolia in the next yard, in Mrs. Black's yard, Mrs. Manstey repeated. I'm not talking about a magnolia here in my room, but I'm talking about the magnolia in the next yard. In Mrs. Black's yard, Mrs. Manstey repeated. Is it indeed? واضح ان الست Mrs. Sampson, she doesn't give a damn. Is it indeed? I didn't know there was a magnolia there, said Mrs. Sampson. Carelessly, she doesn't care. Mrs. Manstey looked at her. She did not know that there was a magnolia in the next yard. Like, she did not know that there was a magnolia in the next yard. Like, Mrs. Manstey doesn't believe that Mrs. Sampson doesn't know that there is what? Any magnolia in the next yard. إزاي انت مش عارفة? Then, by the way, Mrs. Sampson continued, speaking of Mrs. Black reminds me that the work on the extension is to begin next week. This is very important. By the way, على فكرة يا Mrs. Manstey, واحنا يعني ايه ادينا جبنا في سيرة القط جالنا ينط. Speaking of Mrs. Black reminds me that the work on the extension is to begin next week. I mean, Mrs. Black, she's gonna go for what? Extension process, extension work next week. هتعمل ايه؟ هتكمل البيت بتاعها، هتبني حتة تاني إضافية في البوردنج هاوس بتاعها كده يعني. Of course, Mrs. Manstey did not believe it because that would block the view. ده هيمنعها انها تشوف كويس. The what? It was, okay, there is something here, yeah, we need to write it together. It was Mrs. Manstey's turn to ask, the extension? The what? And then Mrs. Sampson said, the extension, said Mrs. Sampson, nodding her head in the direction of the ignored magnolia. Okay, she doesn't care about the magnolia. There is something missing here يا شباب. We can complete it here. And I found out إنها المفروض تبقى موجودة هنا يا شباب. You knew that Mrs. Black, and I figured it out that way. Mrs. Black is going to build. That was missing. Okay, so you can just write it down. You knew that Mrs. Black is going to build an extension to her house. Yes, ma'am. وهنا في طبعا quotation. Yes, ma'am. I hear it is to run right back to the end of the yard. I heard about this, but that was to the end of the yard, not in front of me, and it's not going to block my view. How she can afford to build an extension in these hard times? Okay, and who said how? This is Mrs. Sampson. And how she can afford to build an extension in these hard times? I don't see. يعني أنا مش عارفة إزاي في الوقت ده الصعب اللي إحنا عايشين فيه هتقدر تستحمل ماديا إنها تبني extension. But she always was crazy about building. She used to keep a boarding house in 17th Street, and she nearly ruined herself. Then by sticking out bow windows and whatnot. Okay, I mean, this is what she was always dreaming about, to build an extension. عايزة تكمل البيت بتاعها, البوردنج هاوس بتاعها. Anyhow, the work is going to begin on Monday. Okay, this is what Mrs. Sampson revealed to Mrs. Manstey. تعالوا هنا يا شباب نشوف ايه اللي حصل هنا. Let us change color, please. Mrs. Manstey had grown pale. Look at this one and circle it, please. Of course, the news, that piece of news, there is an extension is going to be built. That means it's going to blot out, it's going to block out, it's going to destroy the view. She always, look at this one, and that's very psychological state here. She always spoke slowly, so the landlady did not heed, واكتبوا على heed care. The landlady, she did not care the long pause which followed. Okay? I mean, for Mrs. Sampson, she didn't know what's wrong with her because this is the way Mrs. Manstey speaks. ما فيش مشكلة. لكن طبعا احنا كريدر we understand ان Mrs. Manstey is quite upset about this. Yes. Tell me please. Yes? Somebody's talking. Who's this? Ali Khalaf. Ali Khalaf. Please mute your mic. Thank you very much. Ali Khalaf? Okay? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Do you have any questions, my dear? Okay. Everybody understands till now, right? تمام. So the landlady did not heed the long pause which followed. طب, let us ask ourselves, يا أميرة, why the landlady didn't care about that pause إنها صمت شوية كده. Because this is the way Mrs. Manstey speaks, this is the way she behaves كده يعني. لكن احنا عرفنا ان ايه when the writer said Mrs. Manstey had grown pale when she heard about the news of extension, احنا عرفنا انها ايه she's being in a what? In a very depressing mood. طيب ايه اللي حصل بعد كده؟ At last Mrs. Manstey said, do you know how high the extension will be? يا ترى هتعلى بالبيت قد ايه؟ She doesn't care about the extension process. She cares about the view that she's gonna miss. المنظر اللي هتفتقده. طيب, what else? That's the most absurd part of it. بصراحة يعني أسوأ ما في الموضوع. The worst part of the whole story. أسوأ حاجة في القصة. The extension is to be built right up to the roof of the main building. معناها ايه؟ معناها انسي يا Mrs. Manstey الفيو that you will be looking at every morning or all the time. Now, did you ever عايز تقول لها ايه؟ did you ever think about it؟ فهي ما كملتش. did you ever انت متخيلة هتعمل ايه؟ بعد كده ايه اللي حصل يا شباب؟ بنات Mrs. Manstey posed again. تخيلوا بقى الهم اللي هي فيه. Won't it be a great annoyance to you, Mrs. Sampson? She asked. Is it gonna bother you, Mrs. Sampson? انت مش هتتضايق من الموضوع ده؟ let us say here or let us figure out what is the reaction of Mrs. Sampson towards this extension process. حصل ايه هنا يا شباب؟ Yep, tell me. Mrs. Black, a neighbor next door. You got it? She almost in front of it, in the backyard يعني. Very close. You got the point, right? You're welcome. طيب, بعد كده ايه اللي حصل بقى يا ابني؟ تعالوا نشوف بقى the reaction of Mrs. Sampson للextension process, عملية التوسعة أو التعلية يا شباب. I should say it would bother me. But, look at but. There is no help for it. I can do nothing about it. If people have got a mind to build extension, there is no law to prevent them. والله لو الناس لو عايزين يوسعوا ويعلوا والله ما فيش قانون يمنعهم. I am aware of this fact. I mean, to some extent, she doesn't approve of this extension. لكن ما باليد حيلة. Mrs. Manstey, knowing this, was silent again. There is no help for it. Mrs. Sampson repeated. Well, good day, Mrs. Manstey. I'm glad to find you so comfortable. خلاص بقى سابتها ومشيت. I'm glad to see you so comfortable. So comfortable? Okay, that's should be what coated يا شباب. that should be coated. لازم نعمل له coated كده يا شباب. مرتاحة 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 على ايه يا اختي؟ ده انا the view I'm gonna be deprived of looking at the view. Left to herself, the old woman, Mrs. Manstey, turned once more to the window, as if she's saying, adieu, goodbye. How lovely the view was that day. The view was lovely that day. The blue sky with its round clouds shed a brightness over everything. Again, going back to nature. What else? The ailanthus, the what? The ailanthus had put, and the ailanthus يا شباب, this is kind of what يا شباب, also flowers. The ailanthus had put on a tinge of yellow-green, tinge like a trace of color. See how dreamy this lady is. See how dreamy this lady is. The hyacinths, these kind of flowers, were budding, were appearing. The magnolia flowers looked more than ever like rosettes carved in alabaster. تخيلوا بقى الصورة اللي رسمتها. Somebody who loves nature, somebody who cannot be isolated from nature. ده حتى يا ابني، ده حتى هي بتقول ايه؟ the rosette اللي هي يا شباب الديكوريشن of flowers on trees، عامل زي لوحة مرسومة على ماربل، على رخامة ولا على حتة حاجة صلبة كده، كأنها frame، كأنها a piece of work. Soon the wisteria, a kind of flowers, would bloom. Then the horse chestnut kind of flowers, but not for her. We look at this one, and I need to change the color here. But not for her. So the day, the view was out of this world. Remember this expression, out of this world. The view was one in a million. The view was great, was amazing, but not for her. Look at this one. Somebody's talking. But not for her. لكن بالنسبة لمسز Manstey, it's not the case. لا، هي مش مبسوطة. Between her eyes and them. Between her eyes and them. Them means what يا شباب؟ كله ده بقى. الهورس chestnut, الروزاتس, الهايثنز. Somebody's talking, so please mute your mic. Thank you. Between her eyes and them, a barrier, في حاجز of brick and mortar would swiftly rise. في something, a wall that would block the view. Presently, even the spire, وفاكرين الspire يا شباب، فاكرين الspire, right? ادي الspire of the church, if you still remember this part. Even the spire would disappear. حتى الspire she would never be able to see or look at. And all her radiant world. What's the radiant world? الworld اللي هو full of flowers, full of light, full of whatever, sunny, whatever atmosphere would be what يا شباب؟ plotted out. واكتبوا على كلمة plotted out، خدوا عندكم بقى. It's gonna be destroyed. It's gonna be blocked. حاجات كتير يا شباب. This is the story of Mrs. Manstey. Let us go to the questions, please. And question number 1. عايز الناس اللي أنا هسألها please unmute yourself وتعالوا كده بالراحة يا شباب نروح على الأسئلة together. As used in line 2, idle most nearly means. وتعالوا يا شباب نشوف كلمة idle في line number 2. Okay? Line number 2. I need to change. Line number 2 يا شباب here. Mrs. Manstey, in the long hours which she spent at her window, was not idle. She read a little and knitted numberless stockings. يبقى she was not idle. So, idle. Ahmed, go ahead يا أحمد. So idle. You go for what يا أحمد? Idle يعني not important. يعني أنا أقصد أقول إيه؟ Yes. yes tell me. طب معلش هنقول حاجه تانية يا شباب، معلش تعالوا ناخدهم بالراحه يا شباب. طبعا يمنى قالت لي lazy، طبعا idle means lazy. يعني لما طب انا I don't know idle what is the meaning of idle. طب يا مستر عرفتها ازاي انها lazy؟ اهو يا ابني. فانا لما اقول هنا ايه، بصوا كده على البورد تاني، بصوا تاني. she was not idle وبعدها على طول ايه المفروض كان جاب مثلا كولن او سيمي كولن that would be great. she read a little and knitted numberless stockings. يعني عماله تخيط وعماله تعمل حاجات كتير و she read a little ف she was not idle يعني she was not lazy right. in spite of the fact انها she spent long hours looking at the view. indifferent يا شباب طبعا عارفينها يعني ايه. يعني قلنا apathetic يعني ايه apathetic؟ يعني غير مبالية، يعني عندها lack of interest. طبعا this one is wrong. عندي superficial حاجة كده طالعة على ايه؟ على السيرفيس. only clear from the service ملهاش علاقة بالموضوع. اوكي. indifferent يعني careless، برافو عليك. indifferent يعني careless يا شباب. انا هنزل فيديو عن الفوكابيولري المهم ده، يعني مش هنتكلم فيها كتير تاني. اكيد الطلاب معايا اللي بتوع ابو ظبي عارفين يعني indifferent يعني careless والا تبقى كارثه. طيب عندي very close to it، يعني انتوا ممكن لو تشوفوا في القاموس lethargic means what؟ sluggish. وsluggish يعني ايه مستر؟ يعني تخيلوا lazy، تخيلوا يعني lazy شويه معناها lazy، لكن كمان lethargic sluggish، وكمان ممكن تبقى ايه يا شباب؟ وممكن تبقى معناها indifferent برضو غير مباليه. sluggish عارفين بنقولها ازاي؟ ها couch potato. لما اقول لك يا ابني ايه during COVID-19 stop being what؟ a couch potato، يعني بلاش تبقى يعني بنقولها ايه بالعربي بروطه، بلاش تبقى بروطه يعني وتقعد بقى على التلفزيون والاكل والشرب وخلاص. فذاتس couch potato. لكن عندي معنى كويس قوي. انا انتوا people نور قالت lethargic. I will never go for lethargic by the way. lethargic يا بنتي it's quite negative، لكن انا I'll go more for what يا شباب؟ unoccupied. تخيلوا unoccupied means what؟ اكتبوا عليها not busy. occupied not busy. and I understand ان الناس تقول ايه مستر the room is occupied with a lot of furniture. الغرفة مؤسسة او يعني مليانة ب a lot of furniture not occupied. لكن كمان unoccupied يا شباب معناها ايه؟ not busy. خلاص كده. lethargic انا مش هاخدها المرحلة very close، انا بقول لكم اهو دي very close، لكن the answer is gonna be what؟ B. اكيد مش superficial يا شباب. اي حاجة superficial حاجة سطحية that's superficial معايا يا شباب. وكلمه سوبرفيشال لها عندنا معنى محترم قوي في الاس اي تي ودايما بتيجي في الريدنج. ها لو نيره معايا هنا احنا قلناها قبل كده يا بنتي، اللي هو يا بنتي ايه؟ insightful يعني full of you know like a lot of thought right. لكن superficial حاجه سطحيه كده مش not deep lacks the depth of something right. فدي اكيد لا، اكيد indifferent لا، واكيد lethargic اللي هي معناها كمان indifferent يا شباب معناها sluggish اللي ممكن تبقى معناها lazy شويه. خلاص كده. لكن احنا will go for what؟ unoccupied. وافتكروا يا شباب unoccupied مش بس الغرفه مليانه بالفurniture، occupied بالfurniture something that you have to understand. طيب خليني اقول لكم something else يا شباب. ان the two passages here والله when I first read them they were challenging. I'm telling you they were challenging. يعني كان حظ الناس اللي دخلوا الامتحان ده يعني it's not that good at all. طيب question number yes any لا بص يا بنتي انا يعني بلاش احط ليزي هنا عشان ما تتعبيش نفسيا قوي. sluggish اللي هي شويه بقى ايه في some people who are lazy، لكن if you are lazy and you are being indifferent معناها you don't care you are careless. you understand you are careless. لكن المعنى هنا في الكونتكست يا بنتي بيقول ايه؟ بص فين المعنى في الكونتكست. and I need you to read it again please. would you read this part again please؟ يلا من هنا يلا. Mrs. Manstey. Okay. Okay, that's fine. يعني she was not idle means what? I will never say she was not sluggish. sluggish ده يعني going to the extreme, very extreme. فهمت ازاي؟ لكن لا كان عندها حاجة she has to do something, right؟ ف unoccupied that's not busy. فهمت ازاي؟ ف she was not unoccupied means what? I mean she still has something to do. You got the point? ف I will never go. This is انت you are going, if you used it as lazy, you are going to the extreme, and I'll not never go for the extreme here. You got my point. طيب تعالوا هنا line number 2, sorry, question number 2. At lines 18, the focus of the passage shifts from. تعالوا بقى في line number 18. ها مين اللي قال لي بي؟ مين اللي قال لي بي؟ تمام. وتعالوا كده يا شباب، أنا بس I need to do this. فاكرين يا شباب لما قلت لكم welcome back to the ground, welcome back to the ground معيار لما قلنا هنا يا شباب، شايفين هنا كنا بنتكلم عن ايه؟ كنا بنتكلم عن مسز مانستاي، بنتكلم على الفيو. It was quite descriptive paragraph. It was quite descriptive paragraph. As a matter of fact, we were walking in the air. We were walking in the air. يعني very happy by the view, very happy by the flowers and plants and green color. Okay. ومرة واحدة جينا على real occurrence. شباب هنا في حاجة اسمها real occurrence. يعني ايه يا شباب؟ يعني احنا بدأنا نتكلم في الواقع بقى. طيب the focus of the passage shifts from starting from line 18 اللي هو ده يا شباب تاني عشان الناس تبقى معايا اللي هو ده. This is line number 18. تعالوا ناخد ايه؟ نقول ايه؟ A portrayal of the main character's daily routine to an explanation of why that routine is important to her. I mean, I will never go, at least for the last part is not right. So A is wrong. B, a general description of the main character. في البارت الأولاني a general description of the main character together with the view. To what? A sustained narration of an episode in her life. What is the episode in her life? I mean like something real takes place in her life, like when somebody, a landlady comes to visit والحاجات دي كلها يا شباب. خلاص؟ ف that's why I'll go for B. طيب تاني an overview of a dilemma، ودايلما اكتبوا عليها problem. underlying problem، مشكلة عويصة faced by the main character to a portrayal of her reaction to that dilemma. طبعا of course no. The first part is wrong, even the second part. A discussion of the main character's pastime، واكتبوا على pastime leisure time. اوكي؟ يعني هقول لك يا بنتي ايه؟ walking by the corniche is my only pastime. Is my only what يا شباب؟ pastime. يعني دي متعتي الوحيدة. This is the only leisure time, the only fun time I have. فهنا يا شباب a discussion of the main character's pastimes to a description of her attempts to develop a new one. طبعا لا يا شباب. فin that case we have to go for B. Any objection to B يا شباب? Are you all convinced? If you are not convinced, please raise a hand. تمام. Let's go to question number 3. ولما اقول يا شباب ده exchange، واكتبوا على كلمة exchange يا شباب اللي هو dialogue. exchange يا شباب اللي هو الحوار، اللي هو هات وخد يعني. The exchange of what يا شباب؟ The exchange between Mrs. Manstey and Mrs. Sampson regarding the magnolia. عارفين المagnolia اللي هي the leafy flower tree. Lines 28 to 24 serves primarily to. وتعالوا كده يا شباب نشوف مع بعض. تعالوا نقرا من 28 ل 44. 28 ل 44 ل 44. So I'm going to start from here. I'm going to start from here يا شباب ل 44 ونكمل كده. The magnolia is out earlier than usual. فاكرين المagnolia ظهرت بدري قوي، مش عارف Mrs. Sampson. فطبعا هي in the first place was the topic not likely to appeal to her visitors. She is not, I mean the magnolia and this stuff does not appeal to Mrs. Sampson. وبعد كده ايه؟ The what? انت بتقولي ايه Mrs. Manstey? Inquired what? The landlady, glancing about the room as if to find there the explanation of Mrs. Manstey's statement. She looked around the room. فين المagnolia اللي you're talking about? فقالت لها the magnolia in the next yard, in Mrs. Black's yard. Mrs. Manstey repeated. Is it indeed? I didn't know there was a magnolia there, said Mrs. Sampson, carelessly, بلا أي مبالاة. Mrs. Manstey looked at her. She did not know that there was a magnolia in the... لا نقولها كده يا شباب. She did not know that there was a magnolia in the next yard. إزاي Mrs. Sampson ما تعرفش إن في magnolia in the next yard؟ الحدوتة دي كلها يا شباب. الحدوتة دي كلها يا شباب تاني. The exchange. اكتبوا على كلمة exchange اللي هو إيه يا شباب؟ The dialogue. The exchange between Mrs. Manstey and Mrs. Sampson regarding Magnolia, line 28 to 44, serves primarily to, that's a purpose question. يا ترى عايز أشوف إجابات. Distinguish between the true significance of an event, the true importance of an event, and the significance that Mrs. Manstey assigns to that event. What do you think? خالص لأ. Dramatize. وعندكم كلمة dramatize يا شباب. أنا عايز كل الناس تكتب على كلمة dramatize when it appears in the answer choices in reading. Very close to what يا شباب؟ exaggerate. فيها مبالغة، يبالغ. exaggerate. Write it down please. يا ترى dramatize the contrasting ways الطرق المختلفة in which Mrs. Manstey and Mrs. Sampson address a sensitive issue. اولا يا شباب الماجنوليا is not a sensitive issue. يعني خلينا نقول كده، واحد يقول لي مستر it is here، فيها exaggeration للcontrasting ways, contrasting responses, contrasted reaction in which Mrs. Manstey and Mrs. Sampson address a sensitive issue. اولا الماجنوليا whether there is a magnolia in the next yard يا احمد this is not a sensitive issue. فانا I will never go for this as well. أنا سمعت دلوقتي نور بتقول illustrate the marked divergence، واكتبوا على كلمة divergence يا شباب. SAT people, you need to know that divergence is what is difference. Illustrate the marked divergence، واكتبوا على marked يعني إيه يا شباب؟ The distinct, the clear divergence in attitudes. حلوة. Of Mrs. Manstey and Mrs. Sampson toward their immediate surrounding. إيه هي immediate surrounding يا شباب؟ The magnolia in the next yard. Hopefully you understand. بصراحة I'll go for C. وبعد كده highlight a realization، إدراك إن أنا عرفت حاجة that Mrs. Manstey has regarding a point of contention. واكتبوا على كلمة contention يا شباب، اكتبوا عليها heated disagreement between her and Mrs. Sampson. يا شباب too much يا شباب. Highlight a realization that Mrs. Manstey has regarding a point of contention. يعني it didn't come to that extreme. يعني أنا بلاش ندخل في السكة دي يعني يا شباب. خلاص. فطبعا C is the best answer. Okay. Anybody who is not convinced, please raise a hand. Please raise a hand. تمام. تعالوا لي هنا يا شباب بعد كده ايه as used in line 31. absorbing most nearly means. absorbing most nearly means. وتعالوا يا شباب نشوف line 31. و 31 it is I think here 31. أنا 31 يا شباب and I'm gonna start from here by the way. يعني أنا if I were you I would start from here from the beginning. تاني يا شباب تعالوا بس يعني ايه اخد بس different color عشان الناس تبقى فاهمه. The magnolia is out earlier than usual this year, Mrs. Sampson, she remarked, yielding a rare impulse, for she seldom alluded to the absorbing interest of her life. Look at this one. Absorbing interest of her life. What do you think? Absorbing interest of her life. I'm waiting for your answers. Is it relaxing interest of her life? No way. No way. معلش انا سمعت دلوقتي سمعت بي مش عارف ليه. يبقى relaxing interest of her life no. ايه تاني؟ amusing interest of her life no. engaging interest of her life yes. and transforming changing of course no. معلش مين؟ مريم هاني take the floor and please start talking and tell me why. And I'll go for what يا بنتي engaging interest of her life. Are you gonna go for amusing interest of her life? ها waiting for you يا بنتي. Exactly يا بنتي. ما انت لو عندك engaging interest means what؟ يعني you are into it. You understand what I mean? You are into it. لكن amusing يعني it doesn't give this depth يا يمين. It doesn't give this depth. يا يمين I forgot your name يا بنتي. يا مريم. بص يا مريم يا بنتي. انا لما اقول ايه the magnolia is out there فبتكلم عن الماجنوليا مش عارف ايه she remarked yielding a rare impulse يعني she doesn't want I mean she's just opening like topics like this خلاص كده alluded to the absorbing interest of her life absorbing interest of her life like what this kind of topic she's quite engaged in she's quite immersed into it يعني ايه immersed into it يعني عقلها كله فيه خلاص كده لكن not amusing يا بنتي entertaining حاجة كده يا بنتي مش it does not give this meaning. طبعا transforming يا شباب means changing طبعا relaxing أكيد لأ اللي قال لي إيه طبعا أكيد لأ يا شباب ف engaging is the what is the best option. Okay hopefully you understand. طيب تعالوا هنا يا شباب number 5 ونمبر 5 سيف صالح بيقول لي A. Number 5, it's what يا شباب? It's a detailed sort of question, يعني comprehension question. In the passage, Mrs. Sampson announces that which change will occur next door. إيه اللي هيحصل next door؟ طبعا يا شباب إيه؟ Very good يا سيف. قال a neighbor will expand her house. اللي هو إيه يا شباب؟ فاكرين the word extension. Extension, okay? Extension بالS, right? Extension. So a neighbor will expand what? Will expand her house. That's very what? Clear. Okay. Thank you very much. Then let's go to the other question يا شباب. And who is ready to do it? Who is ready to do it? Okay. The context of the passage, lines 60 to 62. Remember, Mrs. Manstey followed. Serve mainly to. Again, this is a purpose question. Purpose question. في عندي 60 to 62. The context of the passage. طيب وتعالوا هنا يا شباب عندنا في كلمات المفروض تبقوا عارفينها dramatize قلنا معناها exaggerate يا شباب we have just said it right now it's here. تعالوا نقرا 60 ل 62 we'll try to find out يا شباب to see what's going on here. 60 ل 60 كام يا شباب ل 62 and I need to wait a minute. I need to erase this. يلا مع بعض. Okay. Mrs. Manstey had grown pale لما سمعت عن extension. She always spoke slowly. هي طبيعتها. She spoke slowly. So the landlady did not care the long pause which followed. What does that mean? The context of the passage, line 60 to 62, serves mainly to. حد قال لي B. تعالوا نشوف ايه الأول. Compare Mrs. Sampson receptiveness. شباب, if you are receptive معناها you are willing to accept new suggestion. بصوا كده كلمة receptive. لو انت receptive فانت بتتقبل ايه يا شباب اي new suggestion that's receptive. فبنقول ايه compare Mrs. Sampson receptiveness to a discovery with Mrs. Manstey aversion to it. Aversion means what? Hatred to it. Of course no. Indicate the strength of the impression that a piece of news makes on Mrs. Manstey. طبعا يا شباب indicate like shows point out the strength of the impression كمية الامبريشن المشاعر قوة المشاعر that a piece of news makes أو رد الفعل makes on Mrs. Manstey when she learned about the extension. بنقول عليها ايه يا شباب بالمصري اتبطت يعني ايه oh my god I couldn't believe it ف she gave a long pause. Yes يا يوسف يا أشرف you have something to say. C. Imply, suggest that Mrs. Manstey's misinterpretation of the announcement goes unnoticed by Mrs. Sampson. ما فيش أي understanding ولا misinterpretation. إن Mrs. Black she is going to what? She is going to build. She is going to go for the extension. There is no misinterpretation. طبعا. Dramatize, exaggerate Mrs. Manstey unwillingness to discuss a personal matter. Of course, أي personal matter there was no mention about it. No mention يا شباب. I'm not gonna go for what? For D. Hopefully everybody understands and very quite convinced with B. Fair enough? تمام. Let's go to question number 7 and 7 and 8 P1 P2 P1 P2. طيب. Based on the passage, the attitude of Mrs. Sampson towards Mrs. Black extension is best described as one of you remember؟ حد قال لي سي. يا ترى growing anger يعني she was احنا قلنا ايه يا شباب؟ she was a bit يعني she showed a sort of what disapproval انها مش موافقه لكن ما باليد حيله فيعني sort of what بنسميها tentative disapproval. ما فيش tentative disapproval هنا disapproval ما فيش. growing anger ما اعتقدش. willful denial واكتبوا على كلمه willful يا شباب. if you are willful يا رنا يا نيره فانت you are what يا بنتي you are determined. يبقى انت مقرر عازم عاقد العزم على يعني you are being sort of stubborn. انت عنيد في ده. stubborn denial يعني انت رافض تماما. ودينايل طبعا عارفينها يعني ايه شباب؟ refusal طبعا. hopefully nobody misses a word like that. denial out of deny. طيب اكيد لا. forget about it. social acceptance هنشوفها دلوقتي. super satisfaction واكتبوا على super satisfaction like sensible satisfaction like she is satisfied. طبعا اكيد لازم تبقى حاجه يا شباب ايه؟ either neutral or negative. either neutral or negative. I will never go for this one. ليه social acceptance؟ تعالوا نروح يا شباب للاين نمبر كانت لاين نمبر وات يا شباب؟ 69 to 71. كانت في الاخر قوي شويه يا شباب. 69 لكام يا شباب؟ ل 71. 69 ل 71. I'm gonna start from here till here. فبتقول لها ايه؟ من هنا بقى نشوف من هنا يا مريم يا هاني. super means يا بنتي serious. it could be كمان sensible. لما انت تبقي sensible يعني فيها prudence فيها تعقل judgmental حاجه كده يعني. Mrs. Manstey posed again. Won't it be great annoyance to you Mrs. Sampson? يا ترى انت مش هتتضايقي يا Mrs. Sampson? She asked. I should say محمد عاطف. It would. Yeah, I mean, I would be upset. I would be annoyed. But there is no help for it. If people have got a mind to build extension, there is no law to prevent them. That I'm aware of. فمعناها ايه يا شباب؟ يعني if the society accepts it, if there is no law that forbids or that stops it, فخلاص بقى. فit's what يا شباب؟ described as what? social acceptance. Hopefully you understand يا شباب. Together with what? Together with D. Hopefully you understand. طبعا she was not satisfied. She was not happy with that. وكمان she was not showing great anger. أو she was not willfully denying it خالص. لكن كان في social what? stoical acceptance. like فيها ايه؟ acceptance. انا قلت social. I'm sorry. stoical acceptance يا شباب يعني على مضض يعني على مضض. عاملين زي ايه يا شباب؟ دايما بتيجي لنا دي في الامتحان اللي هي ايه يا شباب؟ افتكروا دي tentative approval. ولما اقول tentative approval يا شباب والله هي موافقه لكن مش قد كده يعني نص نص. خلاص كده. لكن لما اقول willful approval، لما اقول complete approval، لما اقول utter approval يعني approval كامل، ده حاجه تانية يا شباب. طيب let's go to يا شباب question number what? question number 9. question number 9 and 10 P1 P2. Based on the passage, which choice best describes Mrs. Manstey's reaction to Mrs. Black's plans? Of course I need something here يا شباب. لازم يبقى حاجة يا شباب ايه؟ لازم تبقى حاجة بصراحة negative. لازم تبقى حاجة ايه؟ negative. تمام. طب لو هي حاجة negative يبقى B, she takes comfort in the fact that she can still find solace in nature. واكتبوا على كده solace in nature like comfort in nature. بالنسبة لي this is quite positive. I will never go for B. تعالوا نشوف A كمان يا شباب. A. She feels that, by the way, yes, I understand this is P1, P2, وعارف ان الناس يا مستر can we go for P2 first? طبعا you still can do this if you haven't read the passage. Later on we're going to talk about what if we're not going to read the whole passage. But if you have read the passage فخلاص انت you understand what's going on. A. She feels that the life she has constructed for herself is about to come to an end. الحياة اللي هي عملتها لنفسها، العش الوردي اللي هي عايشة فيه، looking at the window all the time, you understand what I mean? Enjoying the views, the one in a million view. الحياة اللي عملتها وبنتها دي would come to an end. I say could be. D. She regrets that she didn't express her opposition to the plans more forcefully. لا, she was not involved بالمرة. She is not a landlady. هي مش صاحبة بيت. ده هي she's only what يا شباب؟ she's only what? a tenant. مستأجرة فقط. D. She resolves. واكتب على resolves يعني ايه يا شباب؟ she is determined. هي مقررة. determined. اسمها ايه؟ عازمة عاقدة العزم على, right? هي مقررة to address the difficulties that the plans will impose on her. خالص. She received the news with submissiveness. يعني ايه submissiveness؟ resignation. يعني لا حول لها ولا قوة. She's helpless. She can do nothing. فطبعا A is correct. وطبعا هنشوفها يا شباب فين يا شباب؟ بصوا كده. 83 ل 86 وتعالوا to make sure about this. 83 to 86 و 83 to 86 يا شباب. 83 فين يا ابني 83؟ I got lost. 83 to 86 starting from here. 83 to 86. Yes. من هنا يا شباب. بس انا عايز اقول لكم على حاجه. احنا we need to what? To erase this عشان نشوف كويس. الدنيا لخبطه هنا. وتعالوا هنا يا شباب 83 to 86 بتقول ايه؟ Between her eyes and them قلنا ايه يا شباب كل الكلام ده؟ The atmosphere, a barrier of brick and mortar would swiftly rise. البارير اوف بريك والمورتر. عارفين زمان يا شباب في الحرب او لسه دلوقتي في الحرب يروحوا عاملين بقى ايه تحصينات، يعني تحصينات عشان يبقى ايه they use their weapons from behind. خلاص كده that's the mortar. وكأنه سور سياج fence would swiftly rise. Presently even the spire of the church would disappear and all her radiant world be blotted out. يا شباب ده معناها ايه؟ معناها ايه يا شباب؟ معناها اللي هو ايه يا شباب؟ A اللي هي she feels that the life she has constructed for herself is about to come to an end. Hopefully you understand. We are done with the first passage. معايا يا شباب؟ معلش it would take time. أنا كان go ahead. Four to 8. 4 is going to be engaging. 5 A. Number 6 B. Number 7 C. Stoical acceptance. Number 8 D. Okay. طيب. You're welcome. And I'm going to ask you now a question يا شباب about passage number 2. Mariam Hani, Mr. Do we have to read all the passage? Mariam, تاني Mariam, and I started saying it. Of course, no. But now we do have a lot of time. Okay, we do have a lot of spare time. Okay, enough time to read. Reading extensively has a lot of benefits يا بنتي. فاحنا تعالوا يا بنات في الوقت ده انا طبعا maybe next time and next time we can read part of the passage by the way and another time a third time بنحاول محاولة تانية بنعملها مع بعض احنا ان احنا ايه to answer the questions even without reading you understand. لكن كلها يا شباب ايه لا غنى عن ان احنا طبعا the one who can read the whole passage طبعا he is privileged عنده ميزة كبيرة قوي. فتعالوا read extensively these days لان في a lot of great benefits. وتعالوا مع بعض، أصل كل اللي احنا بنقراه يا شباب it might be repeated in a way or another. خلاص كده. The first paragraph about Mrs. Manstey which was descriptive احنا ممكن نقابله في كذا passage. You understand؟ الشفت اللي حصل انها she came back to the earth, right? بعد ما كانت walking in the air. Okay, this is the point يا شباب. لكن طبعا احنا many passages later on will never read them all because many students will never have time for this. لكن once ان احنا قاعدين مع بعض بنقزقز مع بعض دلوقتي, so the better strategy is to read the whole passage. Hope my answer is clear. طيب بعد كده عندي يا شباب how did you find this passage يا بنات؟ how did you find this passage؟ ها لقيتوها ايه؟ easy, difficult or what? easy, difficult or what? ها ملك عادل said easy. لغايه دلوقتي easy. مريم هاني easy. اوكي تمام. طيب easy and interesting. Thank you very much. That's easy and interesting. Great. Great. طيب تعالوا هنا يا شباب نروح على this passage يا شباب, which is what this passage is adapted from a speech delivered in 1906 by President Theodore Roosevelt. The man with the muck rake. The man with the muck rake. This passage يا شباب it would take long and now it's 9/11. And most probably I'm just going to read part of it. I'm going to tell you what's going on here, and I'm going to leave the passage for you because I need to go to the writing. I thought I'm going to finish both passages, but that's fine. Okay. طيب تعالوا له هنا يا شباب. This one. What? Yep. Tell me. In half an hour's time. Okay. طيب I'm going to just read part of this passage, or I'm going to leave it for you. But I need to tell people what to do because I have got some responses from people that it's a bit difficult. But I was like what? Fortunately, some people here say it's an easy passage. Okay. Those who know about Theodore Roosevelt, I mean, they would find this passage interesting. The man with the muck rake. عارفين المان with the muck rake؟ عارفين الراجل اللي هو بينظف الرابش والdirt والfilth from the ground؟ I mean he's we call him what? A man with the muck rake. حاجة كده يعني. طيب مستر but muck raking خلوا بالكم بقى muck raking as used by Theodore Roosevelt ما كانش لها علاقة بالمان with the muck rake. الراجل اللي هو ماسك الريك بتاعه وعمال ينظف يا ابني الجاربج والديرت والفلث والحاجات دي كلها، لا خالص. او الويست ماتر كمان. يعني احنا بنتكلم على بقى يا شباب 1906 فكان في كارتس وكان في كارجز درون باي هورسز. انتوا فاكرين الحدوته دي؟ فكانوا طبعا اللي هو الويست ماتر اللي طالع من الحيوانات من الهورسز والحاجات دي كانوا الناس يلموها بقى. Those are the muck rakers. طيب muck raking as used by Theodore Roosevelt. He's meant here what يا شباب؟ The journalists. journalists who تعالوا كده نكتبها هنا يا شباب. هو كان قصده هنا ايه يا شباب؟ بصوا كده هنعملها بالشكل ده. muck raking. This is a term or terminology coined by, I'm not sure if it's coined by Theodore Roosevelt or somebody else. Refers to what? Journalists who deliberately هم عن عمد كانوا قاصدين distort the image or reputation of some let us say politicians, economists, and even business men. شباب دول الماك ريكنج، هم كان قصده الجورنالست. as you know يا شباب اني اللي ما يعرفش ثيودور روزفلت، انا I thought like a long time ago, like I thought ان باراك اوباما was using the best articulate speech ever. يعني عنده فصاحة في الكلام غير طبيعي. وأنا طبعا I am a big I'm a die-hard fan for Barack Obama, right? Speeches I love it بصراحة. لكن when I started watching and listening to Theodore Roosevelt speeches, he's out of nowhere. He's somebody you will never imagine speeches like that. ازاي to find words وازاي to construct words together. لا ده حاجة غير طبيعية. That and what he is a reformer. هو مصلح طبعا، هو مصلح. He was defending the Americans and America after the war. حاجة كده يعني غير طبيعية. ف and he was loved by the press. بالصحافة كانت بتحبه يعني. فكانوا مدينه حقه قوي. و people they were supporting him. anyway يا شباب تعالوا هنا ناخد part of this one وبعد كده I'm gonna leave this one. We'll go to the writing. In Pilgrim's Progress. طبعا هي the novel. هو بيقول لك هنا the novel عشان يقول لنا دي novel. يعني هو بدأ يعمل ايه يا شباب؟ فاكرين اللي احنا قلنا عليه يا شباب؟ بصوا بنقول عليها ايه؟ allusion. يعني ايه allusion؟ يعني he refers to literature. He refers to a novel in order to what? To support and bolster the issue he is going to what to discuss. فعمل allusion. In Pilgrim Progress, the man with the muck rake is set forth as an example of him اللي هو the man with the muck rake, whose vision, whose insight is fixed on carnal instead of spiritual things. الراجل اللي تركيزه معتمد على ايه يا بنتي؟ carnal, any physical stuff instead of spiritual things. مش الحاجات spiritual، الحاجات اللي احنا we cannot touch or say. الاكزامبل ده جابوا ليه؟ yet. ومع ذلك شايفين ال turn of direction هنا؟ turn of direction. He اللي هو the man with the muck rake also typifies the man who in this life consistently refuses to see art that's lofty. يعني الراجل ده اللي هو بيرفض ان يشوف الارت like anything that's lofty، حاجه كده يعني فظيعه، حاجه عظيمه، حاجه فيها greatness. And fixes his eyes with solemn intentness. واكتبوا على كلمه solemn يعني serious. Intentness يعني determination only on that which is vile and debasing. وتركيزه كله بينصب على ايه؟ الdetermination بتاعته على what is vile and debasing. Vile like dirty. Vile يا شباب like what يا شباب؟ dirty like unpleasant like bad. يعني فلو هو the man with the muck rake، الراجل اللي هو بيفكر بس ان هو to clean the streets, to clean the whatever the ground. okay طيب from whatever vile, whatever unpleasant, whatever debasing, whatever bad. Now it's very necessary that we should not flinch from seeing what is vile and debasing. Now محدش يستعجب ان احنا we see what ان احنا to tell what is vile and what's debasing. There is filth on the floor. If you look at the floor there is filth. في dirt، في قذارة على الأرض. And it must be scraped up with the muck rake. And there are times and places where this service is the most needed of all the services that can be performed. وفي وقت من الأوقات اللي احنا عايزينه في حياتنا بس this work. Those kinds of people اللي بنسميهم muckrakers. But, look at but here. The man who never does anything else, who never thinks or speaks or writes, save of his feet with the muck rake. واكتبوا على save off يا شباب معناها except for. لكن الراجل مننا الإنسان who never does anything else, who never thinks اللي ما بيفكرش, who never speaks, who never writes, save off إلا إن هو إيه؟ his feet with the muck rake. His feet means what? His achievement. ما بيفكرش غير إيه؟ What he can achieve if he is what? Muck raking. Speedily becomes not a help but one of the most potent forces for evil. وهنا بدأ يقرب من المكريك هنا ايه خلاص هنا reference to those people خلاص كده اللي they do nothing but they muckrake اللي هي بنسميها الصحافة الصفراء يا شباب يقعدوا يهاجموا بدون وجه حاجة كده يعني. طيب يعني هتمشوا بالقصة كده يا شباب. hopefully you can finish this as soon as possible. تعالوا كده يا شباب نروح على الرايتنج يا شباب وانا واخدكم على يا شباب number 23. And I sent only 2 passages, but most probably I'm gonna send the whole test. I can send the whole test. I have no problem with that. Yeah. Mute your mic, please. Mute your mic, please. I can hear you. Mute your mic, please. I can hear you. Thank you. Okay. Let's go to question number what? Question number 23. Question number 23. Yusuf would mute your mic, please. Okay, Shabab, and let us start. Insulation work is heating up. Okay. The goal of reducing energy costs has brought fresh attention to a feature of buildings that usually goes unseen. The goal of reducing energy costs. احنا عايزين نوفر الانرجي. Brought fresh attention to a feature of buildings that usually goes unseen. What is that feature? Insulation. العزل. اللي هو ايه؟ The layer of material inside walls, under floors, and around pipes that helps prevent heat loss. واضح ان هنا في ايه يا شباب؟ There should be what يا شباب؟ There should be kind of what listing 1, 2, and 3. In that case we have to go for what يا شباب? We have to go for C. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. طيب. Yusuf Ashraf. Okay. Let's go to question number what? Number 24. Somebody might ask me, teacher, why you started Mazen? Mazen, do you want to talk? طيب. Mister, why did you start reading the whole the first part of the passage? Because, and I'm not sure, I might be faced with a general question, like a main idea question at the end. First paragraph is important to understand what's going on. يلا يا شباب. طيب وصلنا لغاية هنا. That's the insulation. Remember this. طيب. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, updating a building's insulation and adjusting the amount used can lower energy costs by about 15%. Homeowners, business owners, and طبعا noun to noun. طبعا noun to noun. Okay, municipalities. Okay, we have here homeowners nouns, business owners noun, and municipalities اللي هي يا شباب ايه let us say official or governmental departments or something. Okay, اللي هي اسمها البلديات. Okay, طيب. Thank you very much. طيب. If you want to read this one for the sake of the whole paragraph, the main idea, that would be fine. If not, let us go to the other what? The other question. With the other question يا شباب, okay, there are 2 main types of insulation workers. اللي هم ايه بقى 2 types of insulation worker? Floor, ceiling, and wall insulators who install insulation in private residences, and mechanical insulators who work primarily in commercial buildings. Okay, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics expects both types to see lots of jobs happening. أنا متأكد تماما يا شباب يا سما يا محمد أنا متأكد تماما إن lots of job for all of you, lots of job is not acceptable, right? Simply because it is conversational. يعني conversational يعني very very informal, so I will never go for it. Thank you Nayera. So in terms of register, it's very informal. I'm not gonna go for it. وهنا بيقول لي which is most consistent with the tone and style of the passage. تمام. طب what about this one؟ تعالوا نشوف يا شباب ايه. Both types to see all these jobs. Of course is not. يوسف أشرف please يا يوسف mute your mic. وفي عندي يا شباب ايه؟ هنا بنسميها ايه يا شباب؟ burgeoning of employment. واكتبوا على burgeoning means what؟ burgeoning means what؟ increase. وأنا بالنسبة لي يا شباب دي this is very formal. Very formal. وأنا here يا ميار I need something that has to do with what? Halfway in between. قلنا يا شباب القاعدة العامة ايه بتقول ايه؟ ها formal yet accessible. يعني ايه formal yet accessible؟ in terms of what? consistency with the tone and style. افتكروا القاعدة دي formal yet accessible. حاجة halfway in between. يبقى in that case يا شباب I'll go for job growth. يبقى ساعتها أقول إيه؟ The US Bureau of Labor Statistics expects both types to see job growth in the coming years. طيب what else؟ نروح هنا يا شباب لنمبر 26. The number of floor, ceiling and wall insulator jobs is anticipated. واكتبوا لي يا شباب على كلمة anticipated. اكتبوا لي هنا لو سمحتوا، هنا لو سمحتوا اكتبوا anticipated. ده اللي بيظهر في الانفوجرافيكس. anticipate, let us say predict, estimate, estimated, predicted, projected, forecast. اوكي كله معناها ايه يا شباب؟ كله معناها expected. if you want to write expected that would be great as well. expected. يعني كله we're talking about what sort of expectations. تمام. طيب تاني يا شباب the number of floor, ceiling and wall insulator jobs is anticipated من المتوقع to rise from 23.3 to 24.4 between 2012 and 2020. Okay, a gain of 26%. 20 what? Yeah, 29. Yeah. Okay, great. 29.4, 23.3. تعالوا كده يا باشا، احنا بنتكلم عن مين هنا يا شباب؟ النمبر اوف فلور سيلينج اند وول انسوليترز. وهنا بنتكلم على يا ابني ايه؟ الانكريز اكسبكتد يبقى يحصل ايه يا ابني من فين لفين؟ 23 اهي. وادي الناس هم اهو فلور سيلينج اند وول and لغايه 29. والبرسنتج يا شباب 26. ف I have to go for طبعا A. I have to go for A. Thank you very much. What about 27? شباب please, some people are unmuting their mics. Please mute it. طيب what about number 27? With 27 we're going to start from here. The expected growth rate of insulation jobs as a whole. Insulation job as a whole. Circle this one. At 38%. At 38%. Is more than triple the 10.8% by which all other occupations projected to grow. وتعالوا هنا يا شباب على فكرة يعني both are the same. يعني احنا we are gonna cross this table. okay فاحنا ناخد هنا بقى. طيب انا بقول هنا يا شباب فين اللي هو ايه the expected growth rate of insulation jobs as a whole. as a whole يعني ايه يا شباب؟ اهو اللي هو هنا. بصوا كده ده كل as a whole يعني total here. okay فإتس almost like what يا شباب 38%. فكمان which choice provides information from the table accurately. فكمان I'll go for what يا شباب؟ I'll go for A. The trick here is as a whole and total. Same thing. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go to question number 28. Question number 28. وعم بقول ايه يا شباب؟ which choice creates the clearest transition from the previous sentence. clearest transition from the previous sentence. تعالوا نشوف 28 وال previous sentence starting from here. Yeah, I'll start from here. يلا يا شباب. For years workers have used a sprayable polyurethane foam that is relatively inexpensive and easy to apply. That's for years. وبعد هنا ايه يا شباب؟ This foam is made from a non-renewable resource, petroleum, and has been deemed unsuitable. Okay, so as you can see here يا شباب حتى لو بدأتوا من هنا you will know it more clearly. For example, many customers, especially those working on a new building projects, are requesting non-toxic insulation materials. هم بينادوا ان احنا عايزين نستخدم non-toxic insulation materials حاجات غير سامة made from renewable resources. For years, workers have used a sprayable polyurethane foam that is relatively inexpensive and easy to apply. However, this foam is made from a non-renewable resource, petroleum. There is a sort of a contrast فI'll go for طبعا however. معايا يا شباب? Hopefully you understand. في يا شباب contrast between the two what? The two sentences. Remember this one, the clearest transition from the previous sentence. مين اللي قال لي why not D? delete؟ ليه delete يا بنتي؟ اقري من هنا لو سمحت تاني. اقري لي من هنا تاني لو سمحتي. اقروا تاني يا شباب. والله many customers عايزين requesting non-toxic insulation materials made from what? Renewable resources. فاللي حصل هنا يا شباب for years العمال كانوا بيستخدموا this type of what يا شباب? Sprayable foam. However, ومع ذلك this foam is made from a non-renewable what? Resource. Petroleum has been deemed unsuitable. حتى ال non-renewable resource sort of foam برضو regarded as what? Regarded as unsuitable. يعني ازاي ما انتوا you have been calling for what? The use of non-toxic material, the use of renewable resources. عمال انتوا تنادوا بكده. ففي الجملة الثانية قال ايه؟ This foam is made from non-renewable resource which is something good. Has been deemed واكتبوا على كلمة deemed يعني regarded. لسه لغاية دلوقتي بنعتبره unsuitable. ففيها برضو contrast. احنا جبنا لكم اللي انتوا عايزينه. ايه اللي انتوا عايزينه؟ ان احنا عايزين insulation which is made from non-renewable resource. هو this foam is made from non-renewable resource. لكن deemed regarded unsuitable كمان. ففيها contrast. I'll have to go for what? For however. Hopefully you understand. طيب. يا ترى unsuitable deemed unsuitable for use by environmentally conscious building groups حلوة unsuitable ولا you go for something else؟ نيرة قالت A unsuitable. تمام. It's A. اكتبوا على unseasonable. اكتبوا عليها unseasonable يعني unusual for the time of the year. طب يا مستر incoherent طبعا عارفين كلمة incoherent right معناها ايه يا شباب؟ unclear مفيش definite relationship. وبعد كده يا شباب inauspicious اكتبوا عليها unpromising يعني expected to be bad as well. inauspicious. فطبعا يا شباب unsuitable اعتقد يا شباب it is consistent with what? With tone and what? And style as well. طب تعالوا هنا بقى number 30. with 30 واضح ان فيها subject verb agreement او agreement in. These groups are instead recommending cotton denim insulation. بصوا كده cotton denim insulation which is made from industrial scraps. اعتقد لما اقول هنا يا شباب circle cotton denim insulation which is singular which is يبقى which is this clause modifies the cotton denim insulation. I have to go for طبعا A. طبعا agreement. Okay. تمام. Any question here? روحوا لي هنا يا شباب بعد كده لنمبر 31. تاني يا شباب اللي مش فاهم. These groups subject وبعد كده عندي ايه؟ are verb are recommending cotton denim insulation which is made from. يبقى which is made from. This clause modifies what? The cotton denim insulation which is one. I have to go for what? For A. بعد كده عندي number what? Number 32. Both 32 يا شباب. Both of these materials are safe, low in toxins and unsustainable. Yep. We skipped 31. I'm sorry. طيب. Which is made from industrial scraps or cellulose, right? وطبعا يا شباب cellulose. I mean we don't need what طبعا a semicolon here احنا we need what يا شباب؟ ها B. طبعا semicolon is bad. وكمان يا شباب this one without or is also bad. okay. فin that case we'll go for هنا الطبيعي العادي الليستنج العادي جدا. طيب بعد كده عندي number 32 و32 بيقول ايه يا شباب؟ which choice most effectively sets up واكتبوا على sets up establishes the information that follows in the sentence. the information that follows in the sentence. تعالوا نشوف بقى 32 فين يا شباب والinformation that follows in the sentences. طيب نبدأها منين يا شباب؟ they are less difficult to remove from homes than polyurethane foam requiring. this is what we care about. احنا عايزين نقرا هنا يا ابني وشوف ايه اللي ماشي معاها. requiring special equipment and additional workers to mix and apply the materials. remember this. ده عايز specialized equipment and additional works to mix what and apply the materials. أعتقد إن this 1A part A is quite wrong. Cellulose insulation can be installed with a spray. طبعا no. They are not necessary as energy efficient as polyurethane foam. No. I have to go for D يا شباب. They are also more labor intensive to install. واكتبوا على labor intensive اكتبوا لي عليها يا شباب needs أو needs a large amount of work. a large amount of work. فلو هي needs a large amount of work يا شباب ده معناها ايه؟ اني requiring specialized equipment and additional workers to mix and apply the materials. hopefully you understand. اخر سؤال عندنا يا شباب اللي هو 33 and I'm gonna leave the rest for you. It seems likely that workers who are skilled in installing these new materials will be in great demand in the coming years. يعني مستقبلهم كويس هيشتغلوا كويس. Devin O'Brien, owner of a New York insulation company, طبعا says bio-based insulation materials. طبعا هنا يا شباب I have to go for what? for B. احنا محتاجين نحط هنا comma. sorry where are we? yes comma وعندنا هنا comma. خلاص يبقى this part owner of the New York insulation احنا بنسميه ايه يا شباب؟ a positive. عارفين ال a positive اللي هو البدل اللي هو non-essential. يبقى the sentence should read Devin O'Brien says bio-based insulation materials and eco-friendly buildings are the future of the industry. Thank you very much.